Could we talk about the experience of shooting in the jungle and how difficult it was to get film? And, you know, for you guys, I would imagine that, like, you know, there was a certain level of discomfort.
I don't miss the jungle.
You
don't miss the jungle at all. It was pretty, but no, I don't miss it. No.
Uh-huh, okay.
It was horrible. What do you mean?
Yeah.
Of course you shouldn't miss it. It was terrible. It's like I said, first of all, speaking for myself, Rob did great, by the way.
Yeah.
But I'm, as I said, genetically engineered to be in the, an accountant in the shtetl. So when you put me at 100 degrees and 100% humidity and bugs and the whole thing and snakes and crocodiles and the whole thing, it was a ridiculous. I never told Rob this, and thank God we're months now past. But there's this scene in the movie where they're pushing the rafts, very shallow water, in the Don Diego River is where we were shooting. And at one point, close your ears, Rob, I see this thing run up the side, and it can't be a crocodile. So I called over the one of the guides that we had, the Colombian guides, who were, by the way, terrific. Mm-hmm. And I said, there aren't crocodiles in this water. He says, no, there is nothing like that, nothing. I mean, you know where this is going. So we do another take, and I see the goddamn thing. I mean, I'm like, that's a crocodile. So I called again, it's a crocodile. No, it's not a crocodile. It's a black caiman. So, of course, I get out the sat phone or whatever. I look up black caiman, and it's like a variety of crocodile, considerably more fearsome and dangerous than the standard Florida crocodile. I'm like, that's the worst news I ever heard. Right. So it was bad. You know, an insect with Charlie, who's now in Montenegro, who couldn't be here.
He's in the jungles of Montenegro.
Don't ask me. But he was like late 2 hours to set one day, and he was never late, you know. And I said, well, what's wrong? And then I hear that he has had an insect crawl in his ear and is starting to eat his eardrum.
Yeah.
And that was week 2, and it kind of went downhill from there. It's funny because you say all this stuff, you hear about Werner Herzog and Francis Coppola and all that, and you think you're smarter and better prepared. Well, you're not, and you can't, and you get down there, and it's brutal. Yeah. I haven't seen you in forever. I love what you did for the film, and it's totally it's like an erasure of yourself in a great way. It's log rolling today, by the way. We're just going to keep complimenting each other on the stage, and you can watch. The scene that he's talking about is a campfire thing between Charlie and Rob, where they're talking about, and it seems like the first trip is going all to hell. And we had shot the medium, or I think I shot the close-ups, and I was going to go back for a medium close-up.
I'll be here all week. Thank you. I'll just stand, shall I?
Should we all just move it to the floor and should we have a little...
Instagram's about to explode.
I have to tell the story now, you know. I'm telling the story. I got a story.
I should tell that story.
You should. Yeah. You should. Anyway, to wrap it up quickly about this other thing before he tells his other story. We were shooting this close-up, and the water started to rise, is what he's talking about. The water started to rise, and they said, oh, the river is going to flood the whole set. We were on the banks of the river. And I said, yeah, it'll take some time. Let's finish shooting the medium close-ups. No, Mr. Gray, really, you need to leave the set now. And I look over, and literally the river is going like this. There was a rainstorm up in the mountains, and the wet water came down. And when the set was overtaken by the river, 2 minutes, and people literally grabbing stuff, running away, and now I hear their caimans. Tell the story, Thomas.
So I broke my nose, right, on this movie. Not in a very heroic way. It was my last day of shooting. It was my last shot, in fact. And I had a fake moustache, because obviously I'm a child and can't grow a moustache yet. But James, as it was our last day, said, can I have your phone and look at some of the photos of your experience in Colombia? said, of course. I gave him my phone. He was flicking through. And there was a video of me doing a backflip on a beach. And he was like, that's not you. There's no way that can... And I'm not the type of person to challenge. And I was like, well, just watch me. So I stood up. I had these stupid leather boots on. I tried to do a backflip and just broke my face. And yeah, I remember, I mean, I've been a gymnast since I was a little kid, and it's been years since I haven't really landed one. And I remember hitting my face on the floor going, shit, that didn't happen. I stood up, I thought I'd knocked my teeth out, and the makeup artist was laughing at me, and then when she saw my face, it went from like, oh, medic! And the guy came over and realigned my nose, and there was blood pouring out, and I got a big gash across the top of my nose. I was like, it's over, I'm done. And then Anthony Katagas came up to me and was like, Tom, listen, we're going to send you to hospital, but can you finish your last shot? And I was like, yeah, sure. So I had to stick my tash back on, and then it was the last shot of the movie. It was us being carried down to the river. And then I went to Bogota with no one. They sent me to Bogota. No one spoke English. They kept trying to pull my trousers down at one point. And they were like, I was like, no, it's my nose. It's my nose that's broken. And they injected something in my leg, and I guess that made it all better. And then I went home and got it fixed. But yeah, so it was the craziest end to any movie I've ever made in my whole life, or ever will make, you know?
I certainly hope so, but I will tell you that, just to make it clear, I didn't dare you. What happened was I was kidding.
Did.
I saw you do this amazing Donald. You remember Donald O'Connor singing in the rain, make him laugh when he walks up the wall and does the flip? Okay. So he does that, and I say, yeah, you didn't do that. That's CGI. That's camera tricks and mirrors. Joking. Yeah, are you saying, no, I didn't do that? I said, no, that's a joke. No, you did. I can do that. I said, no, it's camera tricks, mirrors. And then he starts doing it. I said, no, don't do it. It was like sort of a slow motion. And you had the period boots on, and you're doing a flip in the jungle.
Yeah.
Good luck to us.
Remember Marvel asking me what happened. Marvel were like, what happened to your face? I was like, oh, I just fell over and bashed it. It's out now. I'm in trouble now, James. Thanks, mate.
I can't believe it. I've been in the jungle for months. I can't believe I just screwed up my nose doing a flip. I can't believe it.
That was a bad day.
That might have been very low. It's a question for Tom about how we cultivated the father-son relationship.
That's a good question. I think that started very early on in the process. Charlie and I immediately hit it off and became very close and very good friends. And the way James works, he throws you in the deep end. There's no real like setup. There's no rehearsal. That's it. You go. And working with Charlie was something that I really learned a lot from, because he's someone who prepares more than anyone I've ever worked with. You ask Charlie a question about anything, and he has it ready to go. And that was very useful for me, because it meant that we could sit down and really break scenes down and talk about where we'd come from the book, from the script, and what we wanted to bring to the screen. Especially in the jungle, I mean, it was terrible. It was a terrible place to be, and when you make a movie like this, that it has to be as realistic as possible. And Charlie and and you guys too, I saw the movie just with you guys. We really were thrown in at the deep end, and to be there with someone, you bond very quickly, and you form very strong relationships, and I think that's what came across on screen.